What's up, everyone? Matt here with Down Once More, and it is time for a special Down on the Island presentation of Down Once More, where I will be kind of recapping, giving my thoughts and reactions on Love Island USA Season 7. I'm going to be talking about both episodes 27 and 28, so July 3rd and July 4th's episode. It's going to be a little different than normal. If you're watching on YouTube, you will see I am not in my usual habitat with my usual setup. I am on vacation. I'm at the in-laws. I'm at the lake. You can maybe see water clear in the background there. I am moving around. I am bad at just sitting and talking. If I am standing, I need to be pacing. So that's what you're getting. It's going to be a little different tonight. So, and also because I don't have my usual setup and it's not my usual situation, I am slightly intoxicated. It is vacation. It is the 4th of July, and I don't have my usual notes things. Watching Love Island with the in-laws is a completely different experience. One, you will get an insane number of questions during it. So be prepared for that if you have tried to watch this show with your family and people who are over the age of 60. So these are my thoughts. I'm going to go off the rip from memory. So Thursday night's episode, last night's episode, I didn't get to watch till about midnight. That's why you're getting a double dip episode tonight, recapping both. It picked up where the previous episode, where Tuesday night's episode left off after the mailbox challenge, where people said what they think about each other. We got the line where Taylor said at the end, he said, "Since y'all want me to pick, I choose Clark." I literally said, "Oh shit," at the end of that moment when it happened. It was electric. I've been seeing a lot more hate online towards it. I've been seeing everything get turned into it's getting turned into a race thing, whatever. I can't speak for everyone. Maybe for some people it is. I've been huge Shelley and Olandria fans from the beginning. I haven't loved how they've been moving the past few episodes. That's just me. Sierra has dropped off drastically and is also in the midst of some controversy right now because some Instagram posts and TikTok posts resurfaced using a racial slur. So that is some fun drama that we're in the middle right now. And I say fun heavily sarcastically. People wondering if production's gonna pull her out. We pulled Yulissa out on after episode 1 because some podcast clips resurfaced of her using a racial slur. So differences are Sierra's in the only official couple right now that said that they're closed off. So fucked up from production. You can't really have double standards. I think that's messed up. Is that really what it is? I don't know. Now, I don't know the legitimacy of these posts. People are saying it from the official accounts. Sure. I'm surprised this didn't get dug up sooner. With the internet sleuths, Yulissa was sniffed out like that. Things have been sniffed out quick. So I don't know. But who am I to judge? Not okay to be using racial slurs ever. I can say that pretty confidently. That is the side I stand on, not using racial slurs. But the aftermath of it, we have a lot. It was so awkward. The girls went to go talk. The boys are talking. Laundry is going saying, "Hey, Clark, you just need to be careful. This is how Taylor moves. You better watch your back. The switch up is real." She's like, "Okay," just kind of being quiet. Huda kind of is sitting off by herself, just kind of being a little mopey. Sounds harsh, but I mean, that's just kind of what it was. However, kind of justified for feeling attacked, especially by Alondria, kind of airing her business out there, kind of fucked up. So I don't know, but Amaya tries to comfort her because Amaya's the only one that tried to reach out for her. All the girls are like circled up, talking, leaning in, and Hood is just sitting off by herself, kind of leaning off. And Amaya's like, "Hey, I hope you should know no one meant it personally or anything like that." Hood doesn't buy it. I don't buy it. Like how they were acting, definitely a little bit personal. And so I think that was like, it was nice of her to try to include Huda, but you got to make sure that you're kind of being genuine and being representative of what's going on with it. And then Huda in like the talking head saying no one was trying to see her point of view. That's fair. And I feel like that's been a whole thing these past few episodes in general. No one trying to see each other's point of view and putting themselves in their shoes. I feel like Pepe, kind of him standing out for himself with the guys and what he said, I felt good for him on that. Um, Ian Sterling, the best narrator out there, with how he does it both USA and UK, coming up, never misses an opportunity to make an Alondria escalator salesperson joke. Says Alondria, being a escalator salesperson, needs to take it up to the second level, second floor with Shelly. Thought that was great. Shelly's mad about Ace saying he wanted to explore and then airing their dirty laundry on there. Huda, one wild thing from it is that the girls were talking about whoever made that comment about Pepe was pretty messed up. Saying it to Grayson, that's pretty messed up. And Amaya saying, yeah, that's a real pussy move to not say who you are, to not own it. And then we see at the end of the night, here, I'm going to turn, you can get the nice sunset in the background. At the end of the night, we had Huda getting in bed with Chris and saying they were all talking, upset. Why didn't that person own it? And it was me. So if we do have a movie night, I'm not sure if we will, because usually it shows shit that went down in Casa Amor. And the way they did Casa Amor this season kind of took that away. But Huda's like, yeah, that was me who wrote it. Keep it between us, though. So we'll see if that comes out. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense now. Spoiler, but you should have seen the episode. Grayson went home. So who the fuck is that going to be for? Pepe? This will be fine. I'm pacing too much. I'm an out of shape person. I'm going to sit down now. Okay. So there wasn't like, I don't know, there weren't the fireworks I thought there'd be after the fallout of it. Just more like Alondria kind of trying to caution Clark and saying, hey, you can always talk to me. I know how things can be. I thought that was kind of messed up. I don't know. Maybe it's genuine. Maybe it wasn't. We had Taylor rightfully upset. He's like, I pulled Alondria for a chat. I told her about the things with Clark. Felt things I didn't feel with her. And so for her to just, and she didn't seem like she had a problem with it. Like she didn't go off on me about it earlier. But then now doing it in front of everyone seems like, what are we doing here? What's going on? That's fair. He did. We saw that conversation. He told that exact same thing to Alondria in person, one-on-one. And she didn't react nearly like she did with everyone. And with everyone, like I said, it pissed me off when he said, made me feel like a kid. And she's like, how old are you? What's wrong with feeling like a kid? We all need to feel like a kid more, I feel like. Everything's dark and heavy and shit. Let's keep things light. What's wrong with that? Alondria pulls Huda for a chat, apologizes. Huda saying, like, felt like no one had her back. That shit hurt. She likes saying that shit hurt, bro. Likes to throw the bros in there. Hey, nothing wrong with that. They're all good now. Zach pulled Amaya for a chat because he had just piled on into shit. Zach dropped so far at that challenge for, I think, everyone because of how he treated Amaya. Same with how Austin treated Amaya. But Maya said that he had the opportunities. I like opportunities constantly being a thing. To talk to her. Instead, he just piled on. Completely fair. He could have had a conversation. Most of the people who are in couples and wrote cards for people in their couples, super fucked up. Super fucked up. Just have the conversation. Be a fucking adult and talk to the person. Zach saying, well, when you kissed me back at Casa, I didn't really want to kiss you, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings. So I should have been honest with you about my boundaries. Trying to make it seem like about his boundaries. Not the time, not the place, bro. It turned into a whole thing. Amaya says she never wanted to fucking talk to him again, and he can shut the fuck up, and it was a whole thing. I thought, okay, they're done. We're not going to see them more. But then Grayson and Pepe had a talk too, and he basically said, yeah, I'm not feeling that spark. She was kind of hurt by it, felt bad for her because she's been nice. We haven't seen much of her because I think there hasn't been much between her and Pepe. And so she's just not really saying much. Pepe did say it wasn't because of Hannah, though, which I'm not sure, but it's also fair to not have a spark with someone. Like, you can give it a chance, not explore a connection. If you don't feel it, you're not feeling it. Nothing wrong with that. TJ and Iris chilling. There was a comment because I was curious because I know we didn't see certain people up there. Like there was a screenshot I think it had gotten put out on promotion of Zach reading cards from mailbox. We didn't see any of that. There was a comment. TJ said he didn't have a single card. Brian and Amaya having a good chat after Brian stood up for Amaya at the challenge. So that was neat to see, kind of seeing a little bit of Sparks connection there. Shelly and Huda talked, made up, everything was good. I feel bad. Huda has grown on me. I talked earlier, if you've watched the recaps, I was out on Huda. I do think she has shown some maturity and growth. She's taken some ownership for her actions. The thing I feel bad on is I feel like she does like most of these girls and she really wants them to like her too. And she's going out of her way to try to fix things for the most part. And it's not always reciprocated. I don't know how genuine it is, but her and Shelly are good now. It looks like Shelly's just kind of using the excuse. She felt like the switch up was too much from Chris, which I mean, I said it at the beginning before they came in from Casa. I said Chris had only been talking about Shelly. So kind of weird that all of a sudden he's got the Huda stuff. Huda did apologize and take accountability to Shelly for how she could have handled it differently. And like I said, huge growth, her handling it maturely, taking accountability. So, issues I had. Next up was the game. The game showing how America voted from most to least. And so our questions, most to least genuine, most to least you'd want to go on, couple you'd want to go on vacation with. And it kind of pissed me off because I voted for this game. The vote happened Tuesday before Tuesday's episode aired. And all the conversations the Islanders were having with each other, trying to figure out where they ranked and where America ranked them, they were talking like this ranking was after what happened after the mailbox challenge. And kind of fucked up if they think that after we saw that mailbox challenge, that's how we ranked them. Because I guarantee you that those rankings would have been drastically different based on that. But pretty much, to sum up that challenge, was that Ace and Shelly rated themselves and them as a couple high almost every time, and they were towards the bottom almost every time. And so just that, not seeing what the disconnect is and kind of being upset about how America ranked them, I just think my guess on why America ranked Ace, people haven't been liking Ace online for the most part. Just kind of seeing him as a little bit manipulative, got things going on. Shelly, I think it was more how she reacted to Huda and everything that happened after the heart rate challenge, because that had happened before we did the rankings. Then the other thing was Taylor was last on, I think, everyone, and then Clark was last on everyone, which I felt so bad for Clark. She had grown on me, and I don't think she did anything wrong. I think she was just collateral damage based on people not liking how Taylor moved, which I said, he should have been honest with Landry from the start. I get it. But I don't think it's awful for him to have a better connection with Clark. I don't think Clark should be punished. You can't say Clark is the least genuine. You haven't seen that shit. We have seen multiple people being two-faced and lying to people's face on here. Rate them as the least genuine. So, come on, America. The voting in this season continues to make me mad. After that, though, Ariana revealed that America voted for the favorite Islanders. And the bottom were at risk of going home. The bottom three. Bottom three boys, TJ, Austin, and Taylor. And bottom three girls were Jaden, Grayson, and Andrina. Now, I can't remember what aired when, but I think most of it was before the vote. I think the reason Andrina was in the bottom three instead of Clark, because there were people saying, oh, it's rigged, Clark wasn't in the bottom three. It can't be rigged because there is a challenge. They win $100,000 at the end. By like racing, gaming, federal commissions, you will be in so much trouble if you rig a game like that, a challenge that there is money at the end like that. So they can't have rigged it. I think just what it was is that was after the mailbox challenge. Clark wasn't in the bottom. Like, I'll be honest, I have a confession. I voted for Taylor and Clark after that episode. When I did my review, I said I was torn where I was going to. I was very close to voting Amaya, but I knew Amaya would be safe. I knew people would vote for her. I felt like Taylor and Clark should have had a chance to explore their connection, and I felt like Taylor stood on business in a, for the most part, respectful way, and he had been straight up with Alondra and Clark from what we'd seen. That was my opinion. You can have a different opinion. That was mine. So I voted for Taylor and Clark. Andreina, after the challenge, there were multiple times she would talk to like Huda, be part of that conversation, be like comforting her, and then go tell the other girls about it. And so a little two-facey there, and especially in this last episode, so last night's episode, she did that multiple times where it showed the aftermath after the mailbox challenge, and she was talking to the other girls about what Huda was saying and freaking out, and then like kind of mocking her, like slamming shit and acting like she was being so unrealistic. And so Andreina, I feel like people were seeing it as not very genuine. And also like how she moved, like she tried to talk to Pepe. Pepe wasn't really feeling it, but I think part of it was because he asked her if she had talked to Brian about it, and she's like, no, I maybe should have. And so that didn't seem genuine, and it didn't sit the right way with Pepe, and I don't think it sat the right way with America. Now, I already said all the bottom three. Ariana, the twist is that the Islanders can only save one person. There are going to be 5 people going home after this challenge, which I think is the most we have seen dumped in a Love Island. So that was kind of wild. So the Islanders got to vote and can only save one. We're doing our favorite thing this season, apparently, which is stand behind the Islander you want to save. Now, I did the official breakdown of who did who, so I'll just read through that. For TJ, only Iris and Zach stood behind him. Iris and TJ had been doing well. They were with each other, no drama, pretty chill. They had been talking with Sierra and Nick about them being the like chill couples and hanging out, stuff like that. Jaden, Brian, and Chris went behind Jaden. So Brian had been wanting to kind of explore Jaden, had good vibes with her, he said. Chris was doing it kind of for Brian's sake. And then some people made comments that got brought up in tonight's episode, Friday's episode, about Brian not standing behind Andreina. He said, well, that relationship was done. I think Nick had asked him. He's like, it had run its course. We knew it wasn't there, so I wasn't going to explore that. I'm interested in exploring Jaden. We'd had conversations. Only Elan stood behind Grayson, which this was the one thing where I was kind of disappointed in Pepe in, because I've said Pepe keeps winning, and I'm a big fan of Pepe. After kind of breaking up with Grayson, saying that there's nothing there, I felt like he could have stood behind her to like, hey, you still deserve a shot at love, even though it may not be with me. Maybe there's no one in here for you. But like, I don't know. I think it would have gone a long way for her. I don't think. So I thought it was nice that Elan went behind her, because there's been times when no one's been standing behind people, and that shit sucks and is rough to see. Alandria stood behind Austin. She said Austin is her boy constantly, so she stood behind him. Wasn't too surprised with that. But what did surprise me is that Amaya, Shelly, and Huda all stood behind Andreina. I was kind of surprised. I felt bad for Huda, because if she could see how Andreina was kind of talking behind her back, it's kind of fucked up. She stood beside her for that, and Andreina had kind of been backstabbing her. Hope Andreina kind of felt like shit about that. But I felt like Iris and TJ were exploring a connection. Andreina didn't have any, really. Not really a super strong one. And I didn't really see that she had a great connection with the girls, but maybe it's because maybe she's a girl's girl. Maybe she hangs out, chats with them. It seems like with the girls' votes, it is more about friendship. So then behind Taylor were Clark, Pepe, Nick, Ace, and Sierra. So Sierra was the last one to go, and I was wondering who she was going to go behind. if she would have stood, there were already 4 for Taylor. If she would have stood behind Andreina, there would have been a tie. Not quite sure how they would have handled that. But Taylor was in the lead here. I felt like where she is saying her and Iris are friends, so great, I was shocked she didn't go stand behind Iris. I was really kind of expecting that. And as much as she talks about like sisterhood and being a girl's girl, that would have gone such a long way for Iris. Like Taylor would have been saved regardless. And then she could have stood by her friend's side. Not doing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And I felt bad for Iris in that. So TJ, Jaden, Grayson, Andreina, and Austin went home. Made a comment. Unfortunate Austin had to go home with that handlebar mustache that he had shaved. Nick's facial hair and hairstyle was just awfulness too. Don't know what these people are doing. But 5 people went home. That's where last night's episode ended. So it was going to be short. I'm going long already. Tonight's episode, 4th of July episode. This was like at the end of the episode, I was kind of like, that's it. It was one of those episodes. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. We've had some episodes that have just been so fucking heavy this year. This was more like a typical Love Island episode, I feel like. We had some chats. We had some conversations. We had a challenge. No big fireworks. Nothing crazy happened. But kind of highlights and summaries from tonight's episode is Pepe and Iris starting to chat, kind of explore each other a little bit, which I really like those two together. I've been a fan of Iris. I like Pepe. Realistically, I think if they were to couple up and they do have sparks and a connection and chemistry, they can make it to the final 3 with everything we've got going right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a thing. Pepe said in the talking head there were sparks. Iris said she was open to exploring it. So I don't know. Nick made a comment about, well, I'm not sure exploring so fast after TJ just literally went home. But I don't have a problem with it. You're there. You got to explore who you got to explore. You hadn't explored them before. And they called out like her and TJ had only been a couple for 3 days. So that's not that fucking long. In there, I get it's hyper focused and intense. So you don't really see it. Let's see. Iris talked to Huda and Landry and Shelly about not wanting to start over, being hurt. Shelly did a whole thing like, you don't have to miss TJ. You know, you've got us here for you. Well, if that were the case, why didn't you go stand behind TJ then? Why did you all stand, except Landry was behind Austin, why didn't you stand behind TJ and try to save her for Iris? Sierra's thing, the other thing that rubbed me the wrong way with that, is she has doubled down and said multiple times the reason Hannah went home is because she had the opportunity to explore multiple connections, and she should feel so lucky for that. By that logic, she should have been fucking fine with Taylor going home. So that's my problem I have with that explanation and Sierra standing behind Taylor as well. And she wasn't a deciding vote for Taylor. So just go be there for your fucking friend. Annoyed by that. Shelly and Ace talking. They were confused to see themselves at the bottom all the time. Ace saying he's not feeling the type of way. He knows who he is. I think Shelly knows who she is too. She was now being all lovey with Ace, which, I mean, we'd seen that earlier in the season, but that hasn't been there the last few episodes. So there's stuff we're not shown, but Shelly talks about the switch up being crazy. Her switch up with how she's treating and acting to Ace has been crazy. Alondria made a comment about being like a dagger in her heart, that one of her best friends, Sierra, stood behind Taylor to save him. I don't think that's necessarily fair. Well, I don't think Sierra should have stood behind Taylor. Dagger in the heart seems like a bit much. Chris had a conversation with Huda the next morning where he was talking. He seemed kind of down. Huda recognized that, talked to him about it. He vocalized, like, he's been thinking about basketball, had a dream about basketball, and whenever he thinks about it, thinks about having to give it up, because like when he plays overseas, he's there for 9 months, he can't really do anything else, be involved in anything else. It's kind of distance from anything else, and talking about just having to not really wanting to be there, kind of seemed like. And it's kind of hard to tell if he was talking about his time in Love Island or in basketball. So I wasn't quite sure there what he was talking about, what he was saying. but Huda did a good job, like kind of comforting him, encouraging him. Again, seeing some growth, seeing a mature side. And that's what I just think, like, her and Jeremiah were toxic for each other. Like, it takes two to tango. So I think he brought some of that out with not being like reassuring and there for her when she needed it. And Chris is more like a calming presence. So I don't know. I do like those two together. They have grown on me substantially. Shelly and Chris had a conversation, and this was at the end of the episode where they kind of officially closed things off and cleared the air between the two of them. But like, Shelly was making Ace breakfast and trying to make an effort, saying that she doesn't really want to explore anyone anymore. Cool. Great. That's awesome. Glad you decided to do that now. And then the text is that the challenge is crashing out. The challenge was actually kind of a fun one where there were two things, which it didn't highlight that at all. But basically, one person's up, they pick a wingman or wingwoman to run through these doors. One door you're going to hit and bounce off, it's solid. The other one is breakaway. Then you have to make your way over a slime obstacle course while the other islanders are shooting slime at you, throwing slime at you. And then you confess your last crash out, pie yourself in the face, and then get to choose someone to make out with in the ball pit. Highlights from that, nothing too crazy. I did think it was hilarious. Ian said, I wanted to call it uncooked pancakes, but that got overruled. Great call out by Ian. Great work. Zach picked up Maya as his wingwoman, said even though things may have been kind of rough, still want to, like, no one else I'd rather do it with. And then he pissed on Landria to kiss. Landria did some bouncing on that thing while they were making out. They made out. She said it was smart of him because he did it in a challenge, knowing she wouldn't kiss outside a challenge. It was a good kiss. Pepe picked Iris to kiss in the ball pit. Not too surprised by that. Elan chose Iris to kiss in the ball pit as well. I felt so bad. Iris said after, she's like, yeah, Pepe's kiss was, I definitely like Pepe's kiss better. Felt bad for Elan. Elan's grown on me a little bit. He doesn't always move exactly how I would, but hey, he's his own person. He has grown on me. And then Brian chose Maya to kiss. So after the challenge, Iris and Pepe had that talk that I talked about, open to exploring. I could see them working out. Zach apologized to Amaya about how he acted on the stand on business challenge, that mailbox challenge, said he should have been there, kind of stood up for her, comforted her more instead of piling on. She accepted that. She said she doesn't usually like to use profanity. That was another illy out there. And so she feels bad about how she acted and how she responded to him, and started crying and apologizing because she apologized for calling him those names. So it was sweet. They made up, said that they're going to be friends forever. No romantic spark, but friends, which was good. There's two fun weirdos that do their own thing. Sierra and Nick had a conversation talking about kind of after closing things off, where they think they'll stand for after this. And them saying, agreeing, this doesn't mean we're girlfriend, boyfriend now, but when we get out, we just want to kind of continue talking to each other. Fair. Brian and Amaya talking, and then they had a good conversation, felt like really connecting there. Brian had told Nick earlier, like, hey, I really like have that in common, respect her Hispanic like culture and how she acts, like her, like that energy, that fire, those are things that I enjoy and I appreciate about her and I look forward to. So I think they'll be a really good couple. Like, I could legit see the final three being Amaya and Brian, Pepe and Iris, and then fuck it, I don't know if Sierra and Nick will stay in there or not, especially with all the recent controversy around that. And I feel like they've pissed off a lot of voters, pissed off America. And so I'm not sure. But Brian and Maya, good conversation, solid makeout. And then that was pretty much the end of the episode. No major fireworks. Nothing really happened. Just a fun challenge. Some conversations. Nothing too crazy. like I said, where we're at right now, Clark and Taylor seem like they're doing pretty good. Taylor, goofy in the challenge. They've had good conversations. I do like them as a couple. Like, I wouldn't hate if they were the other final three couple, personally. I don't think America will let that happen. But I there's going to be a recoupling. We have an odd number. So someone will be single. Will they bring in another Islander? I don't know. Sunday night's episode is the recoupling one. So my couples, I will predict after that. I think we'll have Pepe and Iris. We'll have Ace and Shelly. We'll get Brian and Amaya. Nick and Sierra will still be there. Chris and Huda will still be there. I'm not sure if Alondra and Zach will couple up or not. I think he's feeling it more than she has. We haven't really seen them have any other chats besides the one. So if the guys choose, or I mean, they'll probably couple up because I don't know who else they would choose. And then Elon, and that leave Elon single? Why am I struggling thinking of who is in this fucking villa? Shelly. Yeah, Elon go home? Maybe? I thought we had an extra. No, we have extra guys. I'm struggling. I don't have the list of everyone in front of me, but it is what it is. Those are people. People will go home on Sunday night. I'll talk about that on here. So we'll see. These last few episodes after the kind of fireworks Tuesday night's episode was fine. They hadn't until tonight, like Tuesday's episode, they usually don't have a next time on, but last night's episode, they didn't have a next time on Love Island. And I was kind of curious what was going on with that. I'm surprised to see that, but we'll see. That's where I'm going to leave you off. Hopefully, let me know in the comments what you think of this. I'm going to try to do some editing magic, get this out tonight, uploading on the internet I have out in the middle of nowhere. The clouds are kind of cool. I don't know if you can see anything there. But hopefully you've enjoyed the different change of scenery. Hopefully everyone is still has all their limbs after a 4th of July celebration, with everything going on in the country. Hopefully still had some time to have fun, celebrate friends and family, and that time you can spend with them at least. So we'll see you next time. Next week, if you are on audio platforms, the Love Island recaps will be batched and will be at the end of the week. I will do them YouTube. Should be able to do them nightly. Thursday will be the only one that may have a hiccup because I have tickets to Superman. So we'll see. Priorities, right? So tune in, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about the episode in the comments below. Hit me up. Don't forget to go down once more. Later.